Hello and welcome to Business as Usual. Today my guest is my friend Michael Sanders from NTI. Hi Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's go right in. What is NTI?
NTI stands for National Telecommuting Institute, and we help Americans with disabilities and disabled veterans get back into the workplace again. We work very closely with the companies and the candidates who come to us at NTI, and everybody has a different type of disability out there and different types of needs associated with that. So we work along with the clients, work along with the managers, provide a lot of educational training. Some of these companies have never worked with individuals with disabilities before. So we provide the types of services so that way they could accommodate and be very successful.
I've worked in a company in the past that has been involved in a program like that, and we used to joke about it. The people who came from the program were the best workers we had. They came in every day, they were happy to have a job, they would do whatever you asked them to do. And it was just, because it was just interesting to observe, Every time we walked by them, they were smiling, this is the greatest job ever. And you're like, well, I don't really feel that way most days, but they were inspiration to work with because they made you see the job in a whole different way.
Exactly.
And it was just really cool. Now, I would imagine it's finding employers that are open to the idea.
Most of the environments that we find are open to the idea are companies who've already set up their organizations so that way they could do telecommuting, or they may have a chief diversity officer. But you don't always necessarily have to have a chief diversity officer in order to be successful with this type of program. And then also from what you said before too, some people, they are very thankful for these types of positions. Some individuals, like for example, we hired internally a IT help desk person. She hasn't worked for 10 years and we put her up against other candidates out there who were also disabled. She showcased her skills, was very, very impressive, and she ended up getting the position. She's now at NTI for 3 years, doing excellent at the position and shows it in a whole new light.
I have a friend, Subs. Subs started a nonprofit to help visually impaired people. And they work with a number of my friends because I was humbled. I'm on a conference call with the group and they're introducing themselves. I have 2 MBAs, I have a doctorate, so I have the most highly educated people I've ever spoken to. And it's amazing because, like I said, with technology, everything, they can do everything for you.
Yes.
And, once you saw it and you're like, my God, look at the amazing skills people have that you might not see because you see the impairment first rather than the skill set. And it's just like you said, once I started interacting with them, I saw them like, Subs, this was the greatest idea you've ever had.
Yeah, and
you must see that all the time.
You don't see the disability. There's a lot of individuals who work for NTI. We have about 800 individuals who work across the United States. Those individuals I may not see ever, but I talk to them on the phone. And you would never be able to tell the difference between an able-bodied person and someone with a disability. So you get to know them for who they are.
You have 2 separate divisions at NTI. Let's talk about them. What do they do?
So we have our at-home division, NTI at Home, and we help Americans with disabilities who physically can't get out of the house. So they may have some sort of severe disability. And those individuals, they apply to our program. We work along with Fortune 500 companies like Amazon, IBM, in order to allow them to be able to work at home within their call centers, customer service environments, and IT departments. For those individuals who don't really apply for that specific program, they may be able to be eligible for our LandAjob program. And it's great. Those individuals, they may have a very specified skill. They could be a scientist, they could be a program engineer, and they could use our own database. It's a very exclusive database just for Americans with disabilities. So there's over 500,000 jobs on there on this database, and they're able to search through, and if they find a job that's applicable for them, they could apply for it, compete with other individuals with disabilities out there. And if they get hired, they could get up to $10,000 in workplace reimbursements. So it could be uniforms, transportation expenses, taking care of daycare expenses, things like that.
The home idea is really incredible when you mentioned that. Because like you said, I can work for a call center from my home here in Drake.
Yes.
I don't need to be in a building and stuff. Like me, I have a tendency to have a little bit of a booming voice. So if we're working cube by cube, you might hit me by lunchtime, and I'm like, Michael, So being able to work from home, all kidding aside, you're sitting at your desk at home or your dining room table, whatever it may be, no distractions. you're probably going to be a really great rep.
We also provide a 3-day training program for individuals who are coming into the home-based environment. As you said before, some individuals, they may have had a different type of career before moving into an at-home position.
Yep.
And they need to figure out how to transition into that. And we help them along the way. So we provide a lot of mentoring, coaching in order to make that happen. So we teach them how to set up their own home environment, technical aspects, and show them how to be on top. We've had one client who had a similar help desk type of environment, and they showcased the stats between both of those. They found our employees outperformed their employees, leading to permanent hires.
Right. More importantly, I mean, that's obviously important. It's the impact you're having on people's lives, in my eyes. Because you think, geez, I worked in, out in construction, and I got to stay able to hurt my back, I'll never be able to work construction again. But you didn't just go, yeah, you're right, go on, on disability or whatever. You're retraining some people, offering them a whole new career, and giving them the ability to continue to work and feel proud about themselves. That's a huge piece.
There's a lot of pride involved in it. A lot of people care about the positions that they get, feel fantastic when they could come back into the workplace again. Some of these individuals, they keep on trying every single week. As the individual who I mentioned before, who ended up getting the IT position at NTI, she didn't give up for 10 years. Every single week she applied for 3 different positions, went in for interviews, ended up getting rejected. We found a gem. So on top of that, we impacted her life. We're able to change it and move it into a positive place.
It's amazing. Let's talk about some of the other services you guys offer.
We offer mentoring services, training services. We have an exceptional staff of trainers within our organization. Some of the individuals came from American Society of Training and Development. Some of them came over from Apple in order to help us out at NTI and be able to better educate individuals out there. We also offer types of services where we set up call centers completely from scratch. So we provide all the technology, the people, the management behind it. And all those individuals are people with disabilities.
Where's your office located locally?
We're located in downtown Boston. There's about, I would say about 25 people who work in that office. But for the most part, a lot of our individuals, they work nationwide. So they are work-at-home individuals as well.
Roughly how many people are you helping in this area?
Between the LandAjob and at-home pieces, I would say right now for this year, we've probably hit over 250 individuals that we're helping out there.
That's amazing and stuff. So like I said, obviously it's having a really huge impact. Talk to me about the types of jobs that are offered to candidates. We kind of focus a little bit on technology so far. What are some of the other things?
For the at-home pieces, it's mainly customer service, call center, as well as IT help desk positions.
There's a lot of people with really great skill sets. Well, through remote software, I can remote into your PC. Oh, you're having a problem, Michael? Fix it. Have a great day. So, like I said, you don't physically need to be places now. There's work from home now. There are positions where people go on site too, right? Let's talk a little bit about that.
For our at-home division, it really is strictly for at-home. There's some cases where we've had individuals who applied to the at-home program, and they've been within the vicinity of those physical locations. They want to go physically into the workplace, which is fantastic. We encourage it. For the LandAjob side, the world is your oyster. You could work at any type of company throughout the United States. So it's not just limited to Massachusetts, it's limited to, I guess, the continental United States. So we work a lot with different government agencies, a lot of Fortune 500 companies, and even smaller companies too, to advertise out in that space.
So give us an example, like you say, you don't have to mention specific names, that's fine, of the types of companies that are partnering with you guys.
Well, as I mentioned before, IBM, Amazon, Sykes, which is a huge employer of Americans with disabilities through NTI. One of the biggest ones that I didn't mention too is the IRS. So if you have to call up the IRS for any reason whatsoever, I hope you don't, but that's actually an NTI employee who's handling that call.
Obviously, before you send somebody out on a job, you provide them with the training necessary to be successful, right?
That's correct. We provide different types of training. So we provide setup for home-based structure, so that way they're successful there. But also, too, we'll work along with the clients. So some of our clients will reach out to us and say, hey, we want to provide training in the call center space. Can you create this training from scratch from us?
Nice.
And we're able to do that for them.
What type of skills are you typically looking for to help place people?
Strong customer service experience, willingness to do this. If they have a great voice, if they're able to work along and problem solve, very similar to what anyone else who's able-bodied in order to come into the workplace.
Okay, so someone applies to be part of your program. Walk me through the process. What happens after that?
Sure. So they apply online at nticentral.org/learn more. They end up getting an email. Come up for an interview. So that way we could talk to them about their skills, what they want to do, and be able to walk them through the process. And once we assess that they would be great for the at-home environment, we could send them to our 3-day training. So once they finish the 3-day training, they could apply to any of the positions that we have there on our private board. It could be Amazon, it could be IBM, it could be any of those organizations out there.
But that's a great thing. You're just setting them up for success.
Yes.
You're making sure they're qualified to do that before you introduce them to their employers.
Exactly.
And that makes a big difference for people. So now there's people watching the show that may own their own company, and they're interested in learning more. What's the advantage for the employers? I guess someone watching, why would I consider this program?
I'll give you a little bit of a case scenario on that. So with Amazon, they came to us and they said they want to kick the tires with 5 individuals out there.
Yep.
We sent over the resumes and they were blown away by them. Some of these individuals, they may have been directors of IT before, and they're just looking for a new lease in life. Once they're able to go through that test program and see what kind of quality that they get compared to their staff, they can make their own assessment whether or not they want to move on forward. One of the things that we find with candidates who come through the NTI program is a level of loyalty associated with it. So with the IRS project that we currently had, we had individuals who have been on that project for 13 years. They come back every year. Typically within a call center or customer service environment, your turnaround rate is about 100% within a year time span. So we're finding that our turnaround rate is maybe about 4 years down the road.
Wow.
People are proud of this new lease in life. They're proud to be associated with these Fortune 500 companies. They're proud to move on forward with their
Like you said, to be able to say, you work for what IBM and Amazon is great.
Yes.
Now, if someone's watching a show and they have a disability, why should they consider going through your program?
We are one of the major ones that focuses on it. We've been around since 1995, so we've built relationships with all of our clients out there. We just don't throw people at the wind. Also, too, sometimes people will bypass us and go directly to the client. It's very non-advantageous for them to do that. The way I look at it is kind of like an airport line. If you had a chance to go on the longer line or the shorter line, which one would you choose? You'd probably pick the shorter one. So what NTI does, and we work along with our clients in order to make this happen, is we do a lot of assessment of our candidates before we even send them over to the clients, and that's expected for those clients. When they go through, if they ended up going to Amazon.com, it may take them 6 months before they could actually get a call. Meanwhile, with us, they may be through the process in 4 weeks, which is fantastic. And it's not something that your regular person would be able to do out there.
Plus, you have the database of jobs available to them too, right?
We do. We have an extensive database in both the LandAjob portion as well as our at-home portion.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't make any sense not to use the program.
Yes. Yeah.
To me, you're just making things harder for yourself. So, why not go through the program, so that especially then you're prepared, because you guys know what these employers are expecting. You can prepare them for this. It makes perfect sense to me.
We lay it out for them. One other aspect that I didn't mention too was the fact that we also advocate on their behalf. So if they need some sort of accommodation, we'll work along with that organization in order to make that accommodation happen. So they may need dialysis for 3 days a week.
Sure.
We'll work it out with them so that way it manages out with their schedule.
Yep. So now, either an employer or employee are watching the show right now, and they'd like to learn more about NTI. How do they go about the process?
They can feel free to call me up directly or just email me at msanders@nticentral.org.
Yep. And like you said, so if they just have basic questions, like you said, sometimes people, you mentioned the dialysis thing, great example. Well, they're like, but I have this, I have to go to dialysis 3 times a week.
Yes.
So I couldn't work a Monday through Friday job. obviously you guys are trained at that, so you know ways to work around that.
It's been a conversation with us and our candidates for the past 20 years.
So now, I know you guys are primarily a virtual company, but do you do job fairs and things like that?
We do. Over the past year, we've primarily have done virtual opportunities, but this past year we've been involved with Hiring for Heroes at Fenway Park, EOP. So we've done a lot of disability career events throughout the United States, which has been a nice factor for us. And we have coming up at the Friends of Kevin, a nonprofit out there, nonprofit event on September 20th. So you could get a chance to meet me as well as some of the other team out there.
I would imagine one of your biggest challenges is awareness.
Yes.
Getting people to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
So how can people watching make a difference for you guys? How can they help spread that word?
We're doing a lot on social media right now, on Facebook, Instagram. If you look for it's at NTI Central, you'll be able to find us. Facebook.com. NTI Central, and share the message out there. Because like I said before, 1 out of every 5 Americans has a disability. Who next door to you or who out of your friends might be able to benefit from just hearing a note about it?
Absolutely. Now, Michael, are there incentives for employers to hire people with disabilities?
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of the incentives right off the bat, it's cost effective, you're getting a great employee. The loyalty behind it, lower training costs because of lower turnover. So there's a whole gamut of effectiveness.
So Michael, what drew you to this company and why did you decide to go to work for them?
When I heard some of the individuals who have disabilities out there within that workplace and had a chance to talk to them, it really drew me in to working along with them. And I felt like I can make a difference in other people's lives and make it better for them to move forward.
Because I would imagine that the majority of the people that are affiliated with your company have that attitude. To me, this doesn't come across as it's a job. You know, you're working there because you've seen the ability, the difference it can make.
Yes.
You're able to work with your coworkers, and some of them have, disabilities, and see, the role they play and how, it changes their lives because they're able to be a functioning part of the community. As you mentioned, like sometimes people with disabilities end up at home and, they don't get the chance to get out too often. Mm-hmm. So it's great, if they're working from home, at least they're interacting with people over the phone, but sometimes just getting into the office. I've had people, that have gone and started their own business involves working from home and how quickly they realize they miss their coworkers. Before you did it, you're like, oh my God, my coworkers. Then when they're not there anymore, you're like, but I kind of miss Mike now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see, like you said, the role you're playing, in helping people and stuff. So
I've been in NTI for 3 years now, and I've talked to a lot of individuals over the phone who have had problems with their disability and trying to get back into training or some other aspect, and they tell their stories, and it from a day-to-day basis, it really does move you, and it makes you want to help out these people more. You understand why you're getting up in the morning to do your job.
An employer watching the show, if I'm on the fence about this, I really liked what you said, with the company, hey, let's try it. Mm-hmm. So that would be the advice. If you're on the fence, you're not sure, well, why not bring in one person?
They're going to hear word of mouth. They're going to find out through our case studies that currently exist out there what we've been providing to other customers and how much we've been able to scale for their company. That is a benefit out there. Typically, we don't really do like one-offs, so we won't do like one person per company. But what we'll do is we'll show them exactly how to make this happen for them, and then they'll see how this fits into their work life and be able to build a structure surrounding it.
Does the company offer any type of temp or seasonal workers?
Right now we are hiring full force for Amazon seasonal. Sometimes people are a little bit turned off with it. They want a full-time job. Sure. The IRS position, some of them are full-time positions, some of them are seasonal. Some people like it because they get to have the summer off. They get to enjoy the beautiful weather that we're having here in Massachusetts. And then they get to go to work in the fall.
But it also, like you said, it gives people a chance to scale. Maybe I'm an employer and I have a client that wants a really big job. And I can't go and hire people, but if I can reach out through your program, bring people in for 3 months, get the project done, and then bring them back when we get the next job, that works too, right?
Exactly.
So one more time, we got like 40 seconds left. Give us your contact information. How can people reach out?
They can reach out to me directly through emailing me. It's always the best way, msanders@nticentral.org. or feel free to reach me on Facebook. Just look for NTI Central, or even Instagram too. Best ways to do it. If you're a candidate, probably the best way to reach to us is talking to one of our solution advisors, so you can feel free to call up NTI. But best way I would probably say is that website that I mentioned before. So if you go to nticentral.org/learn more, you'll be able to find us.
Awesome. We're out of time. Michael, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for watching, guys. Simple as that. We'll see you next time.